Good morning. This video is a companion video to the last two that I've done, so you might want to take a look back on those to see what they're all about. Today's one is specifically for the pursuing style person, the anxiously attached person, and how they can support their withdrawing or avoidant style partner, family member, colleague. So hopefully that's going to be useful for you. So one of the main things that the withdrawing style or avoidant style people find difficult about the pursuing style, anxious people, is that they can be very reactive and emotional, and that can feel really scary for the withdrawing style person because that gives them the idea that there's big conflict on the way. And what they're avoiding and withdrawing from is the potential conflict. So one of the main things that the anxious style person can do to help facilitate more connection and emotional attunement with each other is to learn how to regulate themselves a bit more. Learn how to be calmer, less emotional, less reactive. So I've got a video on this as well further back somewhere if you want to take a look at that. So ways to regulate your nervous system, ways to activate or tone your vagus nerve are really good things to do. So long, slow breathing, differentiating between story and fact. Take a look at those and it'll give you a good idea. But the safer you can be for your avoidant style partner, the better. So the other thing that the anxious style people often do that the avoidant style people find difficult is we often have a tone in our voice that we can't hear very well ourselves, and that feels quite scary to the avoidant style person. So learning how to regulate your voice, learning how to stay regulated is super important. If having an important conversation with your avoidant style person and you really want them to hear you well, it can be easier for them to sit side by side with you or have a conversation while walking side by side or washing the dishes together or something where you're literally sitting beside each other. Because making eye contact and listening well can be really difficult for the avoidant style person. It's easier to just focusing on listening. It's a good thing for the anxious style person to know, because we often say, look at me when I'm speaking to you. And actually, if we want to be heard well and received the best way we can be, we need to allow the avoidant style person to be able to look away, look out the window, or just focus on listening. So that would be another thing that we can do. Something else that we can do as pursuing style people, anxious style people, is to really focus on what our partners do well, because we tend to pick and poke and prod and blame and criticize on what they don't do well. We tend to focus on what's lacking, what we're yearning for, what's missing, as a way to regulate ourselves. But of course that often makes our partner feel like they're really just not measuring up or that they're failing, which is the worst fear of the avoidant style person. So focusing on and letting them know, acknowledging what they do well and being really specific. So I really liked how you greeted me when you came home from work today, when you first came in. It made me feel really acknowledged and warm towards you. So being very specific about what the behavior or words are and the emotional impact it has on us so that they know they're on the right track. The avoidant style people really like to get things right for their partners. They often just don't know how, because they have a big list of all the things they shouldn't be doing, and because they're not as emotionally attuned, it's really difficult for them to figure out what they then should be doing. We need to be specific. We need to let them know, I really like it when you do this. I would really prefer it if you would speak like this. Be specific. When giving compliments to the avoidant style people, focus on what they do rather than who they are. That tends to be far more comfortable. So I really love how you take care of the garden and the lawns around the house. It makes me feel really cared for rather than something specific about them. Let me just have a look at my little list here. Being really clear about what your needs are. So the anxious style person tends to beat around the bush a little bit with what their needs are, or drop hints or be too subtle. And the avoidant style people find that really, really difficult to pick up. So we tend to beat around the bush because we're scared, right? We're scared of being rejected or minimized or told that we're ridiculous. But actually in doing that indirect communication, our partners or avoidant style people in our lives find it really difficult to pick up on what it is we really want. They like to get it right, so we need to learn how to speak up. And sometimes leading with our fears with this can be really useful. So saying, I would like to talk to you about something and I'm feeling really scared that you might think I'm silly, can put the other person into a more receptive headspace for listening. So leading with our fears can be useful. What else do I have here? Yeah, that's it for now, really. So the main ones really are being regulated, being safe emotionally. The avoidant style people are scared of getting things wrong, feeling criticized, or the emergence of conflict. So they would be the main things. So hopefully that's useful. I've just picked out the main ones here. And again, like yesterday's video, this is super general information. It's not going to fit everyone and anyone. It's just meant to be a guidance for the anxious style person to support and nurture the relationship for the avoidant style person. So I hope that's been helpful for you. Have a good day.